Hello, Internet. Welcome to the Pedro and Hannibal YouTube channel. My name is Hannibal, and this guy on my right, is it the right? I think it is. Whatever. Pedro, Mr. Bet on You. How are you doing this Wednesday evening?
What is today? Wednesday.
Today's
Yes, I'm
Wednesday.
good. I'm good. How are
It
you?
was a long day, I could tell.
Man, yeah, bro. Yeah, it was legit long couple days, but
Yeah.
I'm good, man. Ready to get into some topics, ready to upset some people, ready to
Oh,
just
oh.
talk with you. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, there's a few things I wanted to mention right off the bat. I was so busy today running around, hanging out on the beach, doing my thing a little bit there. And I didn't have a chance to kind of go through some of the stuff I want to talk about before we jump into like the main topic is the whole
hmm
transgender and sports stuff. There's a few things. First, did you watch the Barbie movie?
what? No.
Did you watch the Barbie
Um,
movie?
I've heard pretty positive things about it, but I have not watched it. I have no reason to watch it. I do really like that actress that plays Barbie a
Oh,
lot.
Margot Robbie,
I
she's a
like how she looks. I
one
like how she talks.
beautiful woman.
Yes,
I would say
yes,
she's one attractive woman, right? Like
yes.
she's gonna
She's in.
be,
Yes, she's
yeah,
in my list. We have a list. Me and Madison, the five, like whoever. Yeah, but no, I have no reason to watch it. But I've heard some positive things. I've heard some negative things about it. But it seems like it's been a success financially. So
yeah.
yeah, I don't
This
know.
is this is why I want to talk about it really quick because I guess I'm a little surprised, right? So the movie is gross $1 billion.
Yeah, in
I
like what, a week?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
and
crazy.
I guess I'm like the first one to be surprised because I didn't think it would be that big of a deal.
Mm.
I know it was a lot of money in the marketing.
A lot of
I don't know
marketing,
if they
good marketing.
paid,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know if they paid influencers to do some stuff, but I did see like some really popular influencers doing Barbie-ish like content. I don't know if that was just just following the trends or they were getting
Yeah,
paid. So it
could
was a
be.
lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot. I'm just surprised because like I'm similar with you. I saw the trailer when I was
hmm
watching either a Mario movie or one of those, and I looked at it and I'm like, yeah, cool. I remember laughing about maybe or found a few things in the trailer that was funny, but like not for me. No big deal. I'm not gonna
hmm
probably watch that. I didn't grow up playing with Barbies, obviously. So big deal. I'm thinking at first I'm like, why did they make this movie? Who wanted to watch it? But clearly, people are out there that know a little bit more than I do about what's going to work and what doesn't.
Yeah, I think this is what I think it had going for it. Obviously, the marketing, they spend a lot of money, some good things, influencers, all falls into the marketing. It came out the same weekend, I believe, that Oppenheimer came out. That was also a big.
Right.
It had this fusion of like it's the weekend where I'm going to see both movies, right? Like it was a
Mm,
thing. I remember seeing a lot. Like I'm going to see this and then I'm going to see that, and there's also a lack of like movies right now, right? There's just a
right.
lack of good movies to watch at the theater. So I think it had that going for it. Barbie's a world. I mean, it's a big. I mean, it's kind of a big deal in America, like Barbie, and like just it has a household relevancy and name, right?
Yeah.
So I think you have a mixture of obviously a lot of women watching this, women director, women producers, very women powered, women centric. I think you have that. You also have, I mean, Margot Robbie's in it, and then you got something for the men, you got something for the ladies, you got the Ryan Gosling character, like he's
Yeah.
in it.
Yeah. He was
So I
Ken.
think
Yeah.
and I think it's just it became an event. It became something to do that week or weekend. I think people got dressed up to do it, and I think that it became an event, and I think that's why it did really well, internationally and domestically.
Yeah.
I won't see it. This is not a movie that I have any interest in seeing, but I'm not surprised it did well. So
The reason why I bring it up because it's been talked about a lot, especially on everywhere, where Ben Shapiro. I don't know if you check him out. Every once in a while, I check out some of his stuff. He spent
I've seen some of his stuff. Yeah, he
yeah,
dogs the movie though.
he dogged the movie. He spent 45 minutes. He had a 45-minute YouTube video talking about the Barbie movie. I didn't watch the video because I thought, why the hell are you watching this movie? Like, what?
Yeah,
What's the?
yeah.
I understand the whole cultural war. situation. Can we get to a point where not everything is for everybody? I didn't care about the Barbie movie, so that's why I'm kind of shocked. It actually is
Yeah.
outpacing the Mario movie, and I love the Mario movie. I mean,
Hmm.
I watched it, loved it. It maybe because it didn't follow any kind of there was no political
Yeah.
leanings. It actually just it reminded me of the Mario movie.
Yeah.
So this movie has some of that, and it still made a ton of money. I don't know if it's woke, but I don't know. There's some people saying that there is some criticism of feminist stuff. Is it? I'm trying to figure out what exactly people are complaining about.
Hold on, hold on, hold on. Like you just said, it's a Barbie movie, so it's gonna
Right.
be feminine. Like what people, I think people like Ben Shapiro and people on the other side of that, right? They just find shit to be mad about. Like,
Yeah.
what is it? You know what I mean? Like, what did you expect from Barbie? Like, it's a Barbie movie. Like, you don't like it, it's really silly. Sometimes Ben Shapiro says some pretty smart things. Clearly, he's a smart man. He's well read and but like sometimes he does things and it's like he has this channel now. I see him on YouTube and stuff, and it's like I think he's being fed. Hey, this is a hot topic. I need you to, and he doesn't even want to do some of the shit I think he's doing now. It seems like him and other people have become these media outlets of just riding the wave of hot topic. But then they talk about the media, but they're part of the media. It's very strange some of these channels. But
Yeah.
um, what do you expect from Barbie? It's Barbie. Like I don't
Yeah.
understand
I never
the rage. You know what I'm saying? So.
right because like me and you probably have no interest in watching the movie because we didn't play with Barbies growing up.
No, no interest
Girls
at all. If
did.
I watch it, I'm gonna watch it because of the woman that's in it, and I think she's very attractive. That's about the only reason. But I still won't watch it for that because I'm not gonna waste 2 hours of my time to do
Yeah.
that. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. So I didn't watch it, but I'm reading some of the comments of what Ben Shapiro did. He said it was one of the most woke movies he has ever seen. He said there's a lot of I guess the idea of the whole woke thing, right? We are supposed to be against the feminist stuff, the woke agenda, because you think that's what a lot
yeah,
of these movies, these TV shows are about. But if you like I said, following the whole Barbie thing, it probably would be some kind of feminist. I don't know the woke thing. It's that's man. The thing about words, woke used to be a kind of a cool thing to say,
yeah.
but
Remember
that
Erica
is been
Erica Badu was one of the first people
yeah.
I ever heard use that word, and it was not what. Listen, listen. Let me speak to y'all for a second before Hannibal eloquently says what I want to try to say. Okay, woke is not the intention and meaning behind that word is not what it is right now. Let me just say that for you ignorant human beings out there. Go ahead, Hannibal. You take it from here because I know you understand what I'm saying, but other
Yeah.
people that lean a certain way, they hear the word woke and they don't understand the meaning of it and where it derived from. So
Well, yeah, it's that term has been
it's a trigger
destroyed.
word.
I couldn't
Yeah,
even tell you what it meant. I guess woke just means left at this point. Any kind of leftist.
it does now, but it wasn't
Um,
that way before.
no, it was more. It was beyond that. It was like
Yes,
you
you're awake.
beyond political affiliation. That you
Yes,
must know what's going on behind like the scenes of how power is being used and generated, and understanding how society really works. It wasn't well, woke means left, but that's where it is
hmm
because so that like that it just kind of went in a weird way, and the problem is, we take a word and we beat the crap out of it. And apparently, in the video, Shapiro sets fire to Barbie dolls, so it's just weird.
yeah,
Like, what is wrong? Like, I understand, like you're saying, you go with the hits, you know what works, it's a popular movie, and you need to be able to make some content to get people all riled
yeah,
up. But I just
yeah,
thought it was very odd. It's weird because again, I'm looking at a man that's I think he's 30. I think he's around our age.
yeah.
Why would you go watch the movie unless
It's
unless you have some daughters and you're stuck? Which
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, eventually, Pedro, you will be watching the Barbie movies in the future. Like you're
At
going to be
some
stuck.
point, yes, I will, and that's okay. But I don't have any motivation or intention to watch it now because it doesn't fit with what I need to do. You know,
Right.
like it doesn't. You know, and I'm not going to watch it just to have a negative or positive opinion upon it because it's just a movie. I watch movies for enjoyment, not to watch them and hate them.
Right.
Right. So I think some people go into certain movies like this one or other ones, and they're like, I'm going in with a negative mindset
Oh,
already
absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
and they and then it feeds into what they the preconceived notion and then they get exactly what they got. I go to watch movies to have some enjoyment or to learn something.
Right.
So I'm not surprised the movie did okay. I mean, I think from what I've seen, there's a lot of like really good little Easter eggs in there, like little things that they reference or the culture or history of Barbie and women and men now and all all that stuff that can be good for some people. And I think that's okay. Movies are movies. People take movies way too serious. It's
Yep.
supposed to be entertainment. Like, I think everybody needs to just like relax a little bit,
Right.
especially with
Yeah.
a Barbie movie. We're not talking about a serious topic, So
Yeah. And this is another, I guess you won't call it woke, but there are people out there that think that movies are social engineering, trying to put certain things, and a lot of that, at least some of that, came with the Cleopatra movie or documentary
hmm
or whatever it was, trying to making her black when she wasn't black, and
hmm
changing certain trying to change the historical narrative and then
yeah,
passing on as a documentary. I don't know if that's social engineering or that's just terrible content and a really bad way of putting it together.
yeah,
When you call it a documentary, but you're changing too many things about it, you could just made it a fictional movie and then no one can complain about it. So
yeah.
some people have that social engineering kind of, I guess, ideal. Steve, I gotta check your comment out. Kind of, yeah, he said woke and transgender athletes incoming channel segment. Maybe. I mean,
Listen, we're
whatever.
not. We're
We're
nobody.
good.
Nobody cares. We're fine.
Yeah,
All right,
we're
we're
good,
gonna.
man.
Yeah, we're good.
We
Not
ain't
worried
gonna say
about it.
this on our main channels we make money from. I'm
Yeah,
just kidding.
yeah.
It's just, it's okay, because I don't think at least for my take on it, it's not that
It's not that.
serious.
We're
It's not
not
that
going to get
serious.
that spicy, but we might. It is what it is. I mean, I have a pretty strong opinion about the topic we're going to talk about tonight, but I feel like it's based on like normal way of thinking. So I think if anybody feels like, anyways, we'll get into that.
We'll see. I mean, I
We'll
don't
see.
even know
We'll see.
anymore.
Yeah.
And another thing, real quick, I looked this up. I was actually on the beach. I saw this. So Skip Bayless has been trying to get someone else to be on this fucking show, and I guess he
Yeah.
couldn't figure it
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
So apparently, there's one person that I guess may appear 50 to 100 shows a year. I
hmm
don't know if it's official yet, but former NFL cornerback Richard Sherman
Yeah.
may be joining the show.
Mm. What do you think about
I've
that? Their history. Tell me what you think, because I'm sure you know their history and their back and forth. So
Oh yeah, I
yeah,
how long was that ago?
that
Like
was like
at least
15,
yeah,
10, 10, at
10,
least
10 to
10.
15
Yeah.
years ago,
Yeah. 10 or 12.
where
Yeah.
Sherman just went in saying Bayless never achieved anything. And then like Bayless kind of went back and said he did more in the media than Sherman did in the football field, which is okay. But Sherman was really aggressive, and it's interesting that Sherman and him even having a discussion to even be doing this. So I'm wondering, Sherman has a podcast. He's trying to get into the media, but I do find it interesting. I mean, that would bring some eyeballs
And I think
because
that's why they're doing it, clearly, right? I mean,
yeah,
I remember Richard Sherman while he was playing, kind of going at Skip Bayless a little bit on a
yeah.
show, ESPN. It was one. So yeah, I think it's going to be interesting. Some people are saying Richard Sherman's like selling out, that he's doing
That's
it for the
how
money, and
homeboy Cameron. Now he's a
hmm
sports, I guess, podcast
he
analyst.
called him
He
out.
had a
Yeah,
fantastic music video. You guys need to check that out. I think it's about the money, or it's all money or something like that.
yeah,
Anyway, he's like, yeah, he sold out.
yeah.
Why is he doing this? I think Richard, first of all, super smart dude. Um, I think he's trying to do what Shannon Sharp did. You
Absolutely. And
know,
I think we have to realize is these athletes that are going to do these, they're going to the media outlet side, right? And there's
right,
many of them that are doing it. They know what they're doing. They're smart. They have their own brands. But I think also, let's say you're somebody that doesn't agree with Skip Bayless on certain things, and clearly they haven't over the years. What better way to showcase that than to sit at the table?
yeah,
So I think if anything, I have a level of respect for him doing it, because hey, he's going to make some money. He's going to grow his brand, but he's also going to be able to sit across from the desk with a guy he doesn't believe in and has had some fights with, and do it live and question him and hold him accountable,
right,
and maybe even see where there's like some similarities there. And I think it's good. I mean, it makes sense for they need somebody that is going to push the needle and make people want to watch, because I think Skip Bayless right now is teetering on his relevancy is going not it's going it's less than right now, right?
Yeah.
Than it was 5-10 years ago. So it's smart. It's a business move, and I don't see a problem with it. If Richard Sherman goes on there and doesn't have an opinion, and it's just kind of like being real passive and stuff, then that's different. But I don't think he's going to do that.
That's not his
That's
DNA.
not his style. Yeah.
But it is interesting because when they do get in a heated argument, when does Skip Bayless throw the domestic violence?
Yeah.
When does he throw that out? Does he? So you know what I mean? Like Richard Sherman. I mean, I saw that video with him trying to knock down the door of, I guess, a girlfriend or I forgot.
Oh, I didn't see that. I didn't see.
Oh, yeah. So a couple of years ago, Richard Sherman has he had been arrested. It was a domestic violence thing. Very aggressive, trying to fight people. You see videos like a Ring camera, very aggressive, knocking down the door. Kind of things that Shannon and Skip would criticize of, you know, you lose your mind, it was wrong with you. So I think that's what Richard Sherman is trying to rebuild that brand. Because right now he's in the studio doing the Thursday Night Football for Amazon Prime, which I never get the chance to check out. So he's going to be doing that. And again, it's not official yet, but he may do that with the Fox Sports stuff. So I'm wondering how far Skip will push him, because Skip pushed Shannon really hard. And Shannon could have murdered him anytime, right? Like he really pushed.
He could have literally snapped him.
With no problem.
Yeah, with no problem. Yeah.
Skip and man, that's one reason why Shannon left. I'm wondering if Skip will he become less aggressive and he won't be as controversial as he used to, because he's sitting across a man, Richard Sherman, that he's got he just looks like he could snap him in half in two. So I'm wondering, will Skip's approach be different?
We'll see. I think obviously physically Shannon's just more intimidating, but Richard Sherman's, I think if anything, Richard Sherman's going to be more intimidating mentally for Skip. Right. Richard Sherman went to Stanford. He's highly educated, very smart, played in the league. And people think football players are stupid. They're not. They're actually very smart. Just they're very smart.
Oh no, very yeah. Definitely.
And he's a captain on an NFL winning, Super Bowl winning team. So I think it's a good pick. I think it's going to be interesting. I'll definitely check out some YouTube clips here and there and see what the chemistry is like, to see what they're like together. And I think it's a good pick. I was wondering. I've seen other people mentioned that might be the replacement, but I think this makes sense. It's good.
Yeah, there's some other names they're throwing out. Keyshawn Johnson, because he was let go on ESPN.
Yeah,
I like Keyshawn, but he's too he's too
bland,
he's relaxed and chill. I don't know
if
he ever really pops out with any controversial takes. I think he's just cool. I don't think he's soft or anything. He's all right. He's just chilling, right?
Which is different because when he was playing, he was like kind of a loudmouth and he wrote a book, "Give me the ball," or But now he's kind of more chill when he's retired,
Yeah, and I think that's maybe a reason why they bumped him out. They paid him a lot of money, and they got to pay him all that money. I think it was 7 figures last year. He signed a contract last year, and they fired him. They got to pay him all that money. So he's good. He ain't have to worry about anything. And then apparently, Lil Wayne is going to be talking to him on Fridays. Which I love Lil Wayne. I have no interest in listening to him talk about sports. I really don't. Not at all.
Lil Wayne, some of the interviews I've seen and things, it takes a long time for him to get through a thought sometimes. And I'd rather just listen. If I'm going to do that, I'll just listen to some of his music.
I like him when he's talking about music. When he's talking about rhyming and his career, I'll listen to that. But you telling me about the Green Bay Packers, I don't give a shit.
No, I especially don't. I'm not a Packers fan, so
how a kid from New Orleans was a fan of the Green Bay Packers?
That makes it's weird. Yeah, come on, that's strange. Only people from Green Bay, which is I don't know, 20,000 people. Yeah, those are the only ones that like the Packers, so it's kind of strange.
That does irritate me, and this happens often too. Even here, where I remember talking to someone and her favorite team was the Celtics. I'm like, you weren't born in Boston.
Weird.
Have you been in Boston? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
It's just terrible. People.
Well, listen, shout out to the Knicks. I think they signed your boy Josh Hart. for what, 4 years, 80 million or something.
Yeah.
I mean, he got a bag. So
Yeah,
I
they
think
took
that's a
care of
good.
him.
It's
4 years,
a good
$81 million.
81 million. So he was kind of one of the guys they talked about on like the trade block, or he'd be involved in the package. But listen, I know 81 million, that's a lot, but I actually think that's a pretty good bargain for the Knicks. I think if they're going to win, he's an integral piece in that.
Yeah.
So I think that's a good signing. Yeah.
Yeah, and then Anthony Davis got 3-year, $186 million. God damn it, Pedro, we should have been another foot taller
Bro,
and playing basketball since we were 3.
let me tell you what. If I'm a
Jesus.
foot taller, I don't know you, bro.
You wouldn't even
So
watch.
there's the good and bad. Listen, if I'm 6'9", I am playing professional basketball. I can tell you that right
Here
now.
or somewhere else, right?
Somewhere,
Here,
yes.
somewhere.
It might be overseas, but if I'm 6'9", yeah.
There's no
But
way.
at this, I'm 41, so I'm not playing right now. But I'm retired and I'm chilling on the
Yeah,
beach.
you're chill.
So,
Yeah, you maybe got a couple of auto dealerships. You got some restaurants. You probably got
100%.
whatever. Like
No
Rick
doubt
Ross got
about
a
it.
bunch of wing stops.
Wing stops all day, whatever it is. I'm not. I mean, I'm not doing gig work. I would have never met you. I don't have a YouTube channel. Like if I'm 6'9", yeah, 100%.
Maybe you have a podcast, probably though.
That's very realistic. Yes.
Yeah.
Probably. Maybe.
There's so many basketball players with podcasts now. It's kind of like I just check out clips.
And they're good. They're good ones.
Yeah.
I mean,
I like
they're
the
solid. They're solid.
Gilbert Arenas always kept it real. I like some of his takes are a little off, but the guy did play, so obviously JJ Redick is pretty good.
I like JJ.
I didn't check out Paul George's.
Do you know about the Quentin Richardson knuckleheads? Quentin Richardson and Darius Miles.
Oh shit!
They got a really good one.
Yeah, I remember them. Yeah,
Darius Miles is from East St. Louis. So when he was coming up, I was in high school at that time, and that dude was. I mean, he's like 7 foot. He weighed like $180.
Yeah, but he'll dunk on people. I remember that.
Balling, yeah. He got drafted. Well, they both got drafted by the Clippers. They were teammates, but they got a really good podcast too. Super underrated, in my opinion. Yeah.
Pedro, someone's Yep says that you are 5'5".
Definitely not 5'5", but thank you. Pedro dominating WNBA. Well, Bobby, we're going to get into that because we're going to talk about transgenders in sports. So I guess
shout out to that movie, Juana Man. He's a funny dude. I forgot his name. Miguel.
No.
I forgot his name.
Something Jones.
You definitely can't make that movie.
Orlando Jones.
No, it's not him. No. I know Orlando Jones. That can't be. No. Let me see.
Juana Man? Wasn't Orlando Jones?
Juana Man. Was it? No, it was.
Who was that? I don't know why I thought it was him. It was a comedian, right?
Yeah, Miguel Nuez. And they have Vinegar A. Fox, Tommy Davidson.
Okay.
Apparently Lil Kim was in the movie. I don't barely remember that.
Interesting. I haven't seen that movie the whole way through.
Yeah,
I've seen.
Yeah. So the whole the premise of the movie is the main guy, he gets kicked out of NBA for being like a dickhead or something, like being really terrible, or he got suspended, but he wanted to play basketball really well, or he kept wanting to play basketball, so he decided to dress like a woman and play for the WNBA.
So let's get into it. Do you have another story, or is that a good?
No. We're gonna talk about trans.
Okay. I mean, should we? I don't know.
You can jump right in. So the reason why, I know, Pedro, you threw this topic out there, but I saw this story maybe yesterday, a day before. So it's interesting that you brought it up. With the biggest, I guess, we call it the poster child for this whole transgender movement, Leah Thomas. She is, I guess at this point, I don't know if she's still in college anymore, but broke all types of records swimming.
Yeah.
And when before he transitioned, he was just a very average men's
swimmer.
Very average.
Yeah.
Then decides to become Leah Thomas, breaks all types of records. There's actually a story, I'm not making this up, where she basically was changing in the women's bathroom, locker room, and another swimmer it was uncomfortable being in there, right? It was uncomfortable because apparently, quote, Leah Thomas was so well endowed, I had to refrain from looking. So basically, no surgery, still have all of the male parts in a women's locker room. Big old dingling hanging out. And
Yeah.
Big old swollen donor,
Yeah.
and this woman had to deal with that. Like, so this, I mean, Pedro, what
You want me to start?
you can start.
I've
What?
I've heard that story. I've heard of the Fallon Fox
Yeah, that was
MMA. That was years
MMA
ago.
beating the crap out of women.
Beating the crap, so I don't. I've thought about, do I go in? Do I do a disclaimer at first and say, hey, no, I'm not. Um, it's not okay. I don't think that if you are born a man, you should be able to enter in women's sports. I don't understand it. I think that the fact that this one woman in MMA was able to beat to a pulp women is just beyond me. Um, Realistically, men are mostly stronger than women. Everything, it's just kind of a fact. It's just the way the bodies work. Okay, and if I am a father of a female swimmer, okay, and now my daughter has to compete with men, and you can relate this to any sport: basketball, soccer, swimming, um, tennis. Serena Williams has been extremely vocal. They want her. She's the GOAT of women's sports overall, in my opinion. Serena Williams is one of one. She has publicly said, I can't beat a man. Like, no way. And there's even
Yeah,
stories of her playing a guy that was not even ranked, and he won 6-0, 6-0. It's just different. Okay. It's just different.
yeah,
So if I am a father and my daughter's a swimmer, and we'll take away the bathroom stuff because I don't even know how to. I don't know. Like, it is what it is. But if
yeah,
my daughter has to compete against a man, a born man, and he's transgender, which is fine. We're not talking about that. I could. That's not my. I don't have a right to really have an opinion on that because people can do what they want. But that being said, you give up the liberties of playing certain sports, in my opinion. So once again, if I had a daughter and she goes to Mizzou in St. Louis in Missouri, and now a woman that was born a man, is racing against my kid for something that she's been doing for probably at least 10 years professionally, and now she's not able to maybe win medals and awards and things like that because the level of competition is not equal at all. I'm a little upset about that as a father.
yeah.
And opportunities were taken away from women. So the irony is we have like a transgender person saying they're women now, a woman, which is fine, but they're taking away opportunities from women. I just don't understand logically how anybody could co-sign on that and why they're allowed to participate in sports like that. So if I'm in high school, I play basketball. I was okay. I wasn't the best player, in my conference. I was pretty good. But if I decide, you know what, I'm I'm gonna, because some people think this, and I'm not saying I'm in the minds of these athletes. Some people think they want to be successful in a sport that they're not successful in. And I'm going to play basketball. I'm going to score 40 points a game. That's just completely very easy for me to do that in high school if I'm playing versus girls.
Yeah.
So it's just not fair. It doesn't make it's just weird to me too. And we're
Yeah.
taking away the whole bathroom thing with the ding along swinging around the room, and the
I
girl
mean,
can't even take her
it's
eyes.
something
Like,
that
it's just
yeah,
it's weird.
it's kind of uncomfortable. It's
Yeah.
kind of like Yup had something to say like, what happened if your daughter was in that bathroom in that locker room? Like, how comfortable would that be? Like
Right.
it's
Right.
and I understand what people are. I feel like a lot of people who have a lot of opinions, especially for the pro, to yeah, they should be able to participate in sports. Either never played in a sport and it kind of just saying, like hey, everyone be inclusive and equal opportunity, and these people who decide to, they no longer feel comfortable being a man or being a woman, they should still participate in some kind of sports. And I do not know how it feels to be who to want to be a woman or have that idea. I
Neither
couldn't,
do I. Yeah.
no idea, right? I could assume it's pretty um difficult to kind of go through that, and especially be a younger person.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like you said, there's certain competitive imbalances, especially when someone has their hormones, their past puberty. How there's difference between bone density and the strength of a male compared to a woman.
Yeah.
So, and Bobby popped this in right here. A transgender so
Yeah.
that's something. Problem is not enough of
There's
transgenders to
not, yeah,
have
yeah,
that,
yeah.
right? So
But
now
I
they got to
think down
figure
the
this out.
line that could be, I would not be surprised if something like that kind of happened.
Right.
I wouldn't be surprised at that, but you
Yeah.
would, we're I think it's too soon to have
Yeah.
enough, of people that would be able to do that or want to do that. Yeah.
Yeah. So this story I popped this up. I actually saw this a few weeks ago. So this is a non-binary rugby player. So I guess it's non-binary.
Yeah.
This player was the hardest hitting. Like, you got apparently it's an award for rugby if you're the hardest hitter on your team. Or so this person 1 year as a male hardest hitter in the men's team. Next year becomes binary, joins the women's team, and basically injures. Let me just check it right here. Last weekend, three women's rugby players had to be removed from a game and treated for injuries from hits sustained by a trans woman.
So
Then the referee, after repeating dangerous tackles, had to remove the trans player from the game. This is in Canada. He was, yeah, is Ash Davis, a biological man who was rewarded the hardest hitter during the 2022 Senior Awards banquet. So the hardest hitter.
That's assault. I mean, I don't understand how these things are allowed to happen. I just don't get it. I think I don't understand it. I would love to understand it if somebody can explain to me the logic behind it. Like, I feel like I don't know. We're not saying you can't. Everybody should be able to be themselves. I am like all for that.
Right.
But you can't. Then you kind of, in my opinion, you give up your liberty to be able to play a sport that is a physical contact sport. If it's tennis, maybe it's a little bit different. But the physical contact, like that, to me is where it's like above and beyond. I don't agree. Swimming either, but I guess even tennis. But like MMA and like rugby, it just seems so.
And
Wrong
rugby
to me.
is, I mean,
Very
I still
physical.
don't understand the rules, but I love watching it. Like, I kind of figure out what they're doing. I know there's a lot of lateral passes. I don't understand the scrum part.
Yeah.
That's a physical sport because they're not wearing a lot of protection. I think maybe they have some of the helmets. I mean, some have the helmets that cover their ears. They be hitting each other. They be blasting each other. And I know watching some like the World Cup of Rugby, the Fiji team, these big Samoan mother, they run fast, hit hard. Like, it's like a bunch of Troy Polamalu's, just like 8 of them, all running and then destroying people.
Crazy.
So imagine a man having free reign to hit women, to tackle women, to the point they had it like, okay, you gotta get off the team. They call that dangerous tackle. He probably would it may have been routine tackling, but it's a big difference between a man tackling a woman. And again, this person was a male 1 year, next year, not so. I'm sure, like, maybe if it's on hormones or whatever, but still, he went through puberty. He has that testosterone. And what I think is happening is a lot of us, and I think I would include all of us, we want everyone to be happy. We really do. People tend to think, oh, we're all out to attack each other. We see things that don't make sense, but we kind of just let things go. We kind of just let it ride. We don't want to talk about it. We don't want to be that person that be accused of being a bigot or being hateful, or because again, when you criticize this, and I was at a bar talking to someone, and this person brought up Dave Chappelle, and she kept talking about how Dave Chappelle was a bigot, hated trans people.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, I remember watching the same. I'm sure she watched the same specials. I don't think he said anything hateful at all. He's throwing jokes, but now jokes are bad, right? Jokes are evil. You're terrible. But most of us are just working, just living our lives. So when we see stuff like that, we kind of like, whatever. Like, what am I supposed to say? What am I supposed to do about this? We want to be happy and comfortable. But that's why right now there's 15 states that banned transgender to participate, at least transgender men to participate in women's sports. 15 states.
Yeah.
Like, this is where we have to go. And then there are people out there who think those people who did that are bigots. They're hateful people.
Yeah, yeah. I
You know,
I think it's I go back to if my daughter had to compete, and it'd be like you work really hard, and then it's like you feel like the rug's pulled out from under you because now it's not fair. It's just not. And listen, there are countless women out here that could beat me in basketball, knock me out, beat me in many sports. These are all true. But I'm not professional. So when you take a professional and
next
they're
level.
meant the next level, most of the time, probably at least, I don't know, maybe 95 or 90 whatever percent, the man's going to beat the woman. That's just facts. Now we could talk about other lines of work, and the women are going to outpace the men. That's clear as well. We talk about on this channel. Women are they're more career driven right now. Their education levels higher. They're graduating. They're being more successful than men. We're not talking about that stuff. So this isn't a slight on, you know, we're talking physicality. Okay.
Right.
And, I talked about the MMA because that's the most physical sport, right? So imagine trying to put boxing gloves on and you're a woman. Me and Hannibal just saw a fight the other night. The women were fighting it out. We both said at that bar, like, man, that girl kicked my ass. Like she knocked me out. And I 100% know she would knock me out. Like I'm not a professional boxer. She's been doing that all her life. So
Yeah.
if you put her in that same ring with Logan Paul or no, Jake Paul's going to beat her in 30 seconds to a minute.
With
And that
limited
wouldn't
skill too.
with limited skill.
Like he's
Exactly.
okay, like, but it's just the strength. The guy's
The strength.
he's built like
Yeah.
a fucking brick shit house.
Nate
It just
Diaz. Nate Diaz would do the same. So it's like you cannot look at that and say that's okay. You just it's not okay. And
yeah,
if Jake Paul says he's a woman now and puts a dress on, he's transgender, I got no problem. Like it's not my business. Do what makes you feel good and what you feel right, and live your true identity. It's all good. But if you want to continue to be a boxer, I have to draw the line and say, no, you can't do that
yeah,
because it's not fair to your opponent. It's
yeah.
just not fair. So.
There's a few good comments. I'm gonna read a few. Bobby says Lil League used to have a girl play with the boys,
I
but
remember
never did
her.
the
Yep.
softball. Yeah, I remember that. And I don't know if that's I
Monique Davis was her name.
I think because well, that's around that age where girls are probably physically developing on level at this point. Not in
Hmm.
high school. I think it's little league, so it's what before 13.
Yeah,
What?
I think
So
you're right. Yeah.
that may be a little bit over there because hey, listen, I remember in grade school there were girls that could beat up anybody in that city, like in their little grade. Like it was a fifth grade or fourth grade.
Yeah.
There's some girls that were really really big, but then after once you go to high school, it kind of
It's
men
it
kind of jump up and surpass it. So I do
yeah.
remember that. I think she go to college or she tried to play for the WNBA. I forgot. It's been a minute since I.
She went. I remember her. So I believe she was from that team was from Chicago,
Right.
and she pitched she was a pitcher. She was really good,
Yeah. Yeah.
and she wanted to play basketball at UConn. I remember that, and I don't think she ever made the team, but that was like her thing she
Well,
wanted to
yeah.
do. I
Right.
think
Right.
she does or did play basketball. I'm not sure how far she went. This was what 6, 7, 8
Yeah. It's been a
years
minute.
ago,
Yeah.
something
It's
like
been
that.
ago. Yeah.
But like that's different. We're talking about adolescents. We're talking about kids, teenagers. Grown adults is different, but we don't see at that age. We don't see. At least I'm sure it's happened, but maybe it's more current. We don't see young boys playing with the girls in softball, right? That's to
No,
Bobby's. We
unless
don't.
it's all fun and games,
Yeah,
and we're not
you know,
taking it that seriously.
we don't see that. We don't see a 6-year-old playing with a whole bunch of girls in soccer, and even if it did, it's probably more even because they haven't grown up yet. But like
Right.
I think it's one thing to be inclusive, and I'm for that. But like when it comes to certain things, you shouldn't have to like marry it, And I
Yeah.
think a lot of people are really scared to just have an opinion, and people are just like, yeah, okay, you feel like that? Okay, great, yeah, I do too. And nope, not enough people are willing to just say, hold on, like I don't want my daughter in the bathroom seeing a man's genitalia. Like, is that?
Yes.
And if you say that, it's like, oh, you're not inclusive. No, I'm not that. My 6-year-old daughter, how do you want me to explain that to her? Like
Mm,
that's not.
exactly.
So you have to
We-
understand, as
yeah.
parents, we should be able to say, nope, I'm not okay with that, without being labeled a certain way. And I think that's where we're at right now, and it's weird. It's just weird.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think that's where it is that we are so worried about, because we got so much things to do. We don't have time for this. We got to take care of ourselves, obviously take care of our family. We got
It's
to
already hard
work.
enough. Yeah, I mean,
So it's like, no, I gotta be in a realm of political stuff or social stuff that it's like I don't got time for this. So, but Yup says like, where do we draw a line? What makes a man a man? What makes a woman a woman? I tell you, it ain't the personality. We're kind of stuck in this. Like now we have to take a stand, right? Giggity. A society willing to stand up and stop coddling this nonsense could be a solution as well. I agree. I
yeah.
think,
And I don't think
and
it's
that
all nonsense, but I do, I tend to agree with that. Yeah.
yeah. This has gone too far. Daniel coming in. To be honest, I think that's where it is. Where these situations where again, this is rugby, this is Canada. I think they may be more progressive than we are at this point. It's probably a back and forth. But when you see someone on the field knocking women out, when do we say that? Maybe that referee was like, okay,
I mean,
this is
come
going far
on.
enough.
Like, what do we? It's just, it's weird. It's just,
Yeah.
it doesn't. For me, I've always gone by like, what do you call the eye test, right? So if I look at somebody in sports, people use the eye test. Is he good? Is he bad? Like, when I look at the eye test of that, Fallon Fox, a born a man, was an MMA fighter.
Yeah, and this was way back in the day.
This was,
It's
dude.
not
This
like
is like
this ain't Leah
15 years ago
Thomas.
or
This
something.
is,
Yeah,
and I remember looking at him like, oh, that's weird. And then kind of like this is I
yeah,
don't understand this at all. But that was a
yeah.
minute ago, actually.
It
I remember that.
was. And when you look at that, it's like, oh man, okay, she's a woman, she's transgender, it's fine. But like you see her physically, it like, and
The
something's not,
shoulders,
it's not
it's,
right. It's
because
just
again,
not
it past
right.
puberty.
Yeah.
So okay, so how about this solution? I was reading this about I guess some of the solutions that maybe a transgender person can to participate in women's sports. Let's say, for instance, the person became transgender before puberty hit, meaning they decide, the person decided to be a man or woman before, let's say for instance, a boy wanted to be a girl before he hit puberty, but he's already transgender. I
So
guess
he's
he took
let's
the
just say 10 years old.
yeah, and he
Yeah.
took the whatever.
Yeah.
Again, that's way too early. What you know, what I'm saying. Would you be okay with that person participating in women's sports?
I don't know. That's tough. I don't know. That's tough because I think at that point you're taking things to block your testosterone, right?
Yes.
Your natural testosterone and the
Yeah.
development of what you would naturally maybe develop into. Because listen, let's be honest. There are men out here that are physically weak, okay, and there are women that are physically strong, right?
Right.
Like there are women that would kick my ass, and there are a lot of men that are like, just you look at them and like that dude couldn't, like it couldn't do anything, right? And they didn't transition or they're not transgender, which is fine. But we're
Yeah.
talking generally speaking.
Right.
So
Right.
I don't know. I don't know. I do think that innately, if you're born a certain way, you have things in your genetics that still give you a dominant advantage on both sides, whether you're a woman or a man. I do believe that. So I don't understand why we need to like mix this in the sporting world, like why we need to like I don't understand. Like there's clearly a avenue for you to play a sport, but you're choosing to do it in a different way, and it just doesn't logically. I just can't understand why. But obviously, I'm not transgender, so I can't. I don't understand it. I shouldn't have to. But it's just it doesn't make any sense when I see a man, when I see a woman that was born a man beating on a woman professionally. I have issue with that. It does not sit well. It just looks weird. And when I
Yeah.
see somebody swimming and breaking all these records, that looks weird. And I think
Yeah.
about whoever came in second and third or fourth place. The second place would have been first place if Leah wasn't there.
Yeah.
And if that fourth place would have been third place. That's just a fact of the matter. So it's an issue. You're taking away from women that were doing something and collegiately were trying to aspire to something, and they basically just had it taken away from them because a transgender woman that was born a man was able to compete against a woman, and they have a physical advantage. If they were transitioned before, I don't know. Maybe it is different. I think
Yeah.
physically it probably would be, but
That's super early, and that's
it's
another
super. That's a whole nother
another
topic.
debate
Yeah,
on
yeah,
you know should a child go through that? And I've seen some really very interesting stories about um should that happen, and I say no. Personally, a child isn't ready to make that drastic of a decision. They should, if they're going to do it, wait to be an
Yeah.
adult, and then you can decide to do that. Is that controversial? Is that hating the child for wanting to be? No, it's, hey, listen, if you have this thought, all right, cool. Let's see you have the same idea when you're 18.
Yeah.
Kids say all types of things.
Yes, they do.
Kids don't know what they want.
What
They
was that
don't.
old Bill Cosby? Kids say the damnedest things. Remember that show?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Um
Yeah.
there's times where my son will ask for something to eat, and he'll mention a thing, and I know he's not gonna eat that.
Yeah.
And not like I'm ignoring. I'm like, I've already done this before. I went down this road when he says I want, like he'll say I want chocolate ice cream. I'm like, boy, don't eat chocolate ice cream.
Yeah.
I already bought a chocolate ice cream last time. It didn't, so I
Yeah.
have to
Yeah.
say, you know what? We're gonna try something else. So maybe a
Yeah.
little bit of chocolate with some vanilla, and then he eats the whole thing. Like,
Yeah.
we know our kids, and sometimes you don't know what's going on. Yeah, kids are still trying to find themselves. They're still trying to navigate the world.
Yeah.
So to have a, like I said, to take puberty blockers that young.
It's tough, man.
Yeah.
That's tough. I think it's hard to really know how I would feel or react until I was brought into that moment, because it's your
Right.
child. You're always going to want to protect. You want the best for them naturally, right? But you also have a role as a parent, as a father, to say no, right? You have to, you have to think
Yeah.
about long term, like so. But it's tough. I don't know how I would react in that situation. But the beautiful thing about being a parent is our kids are all very individuals. They're
Right.
different. We want to be able to hear them. You want them to be loved. You want them to be heard. So I think it just depends on like how that thing is brought, how those things are brought up, and this goes with anything. But like, yeah, I don't know. As a parent right now, I don't know if I could take my kid and say, yeah, all right, let's do a surgery or let's take these blockers. Like, I
Right.
think there's another avenue, and other things to explore. I think that conversation I would have with my 10-year-old is very different than I would have if they were an adult. Because as an
Right.
adult, if I did my job as a parent, they would hopefully feel comfortable with me telling me these things and being open, and then we can have
Right.
an adult conversation, and then I support them. You know what I mean?
Right.
But as a 10-year
Absolutely.
old, my role as a father to my 10-year-old is not to be your friend, and
Absolutely.
it's to protect you and actually lead you, right? So it's not just what you say goes. No, that's not how it works. You're 10, I am 41. What I
Right.
say goes. Like, that's, you know what I'm saying? So, but it's tough because I say that now, but who knows what that conversation would look like. But yeah, do I think I'd have, yeah, I don't know. If my kid wanted to wear whatever they wanted to wear as far as clothing and whatever, I actually have no, like, hey, you want to wear this to school? Let's have a conversation. But at the end of the day, I want you to be yourself. But
Right.
as far as like surgeries and like pills or blockers, that's a tough one, man.
Right.
It's hard to say, but I'd probably lean like, we need to get some therapy, get your mom involved. Like, let's really talk about what's happening here and go from there. It would probably be my initial reaction, but that's a tough one, man.
I
It's tough.
I think that's a pretty reasonable position. I think I shared that sentiment. If my son said I want to be a chick, it wouldn't be me yelling, flipping out,
Right.
cursing at him, demeaning him, because that's where things can go terribly wrong.
Yeah.
Especially a lot of people, even not to say the transgender thing, but going to your parents and saying I'm gay, and how they react to it. It can destroy a kid, right?
Yeah.
Anyone.
Yes.
So you don't want to come across that way, but you want to talk, have conversations, bring in a professional
Hmm.
to really understand this whole situation. Always, and no matter what, you always make sure you say I love you. No matter what happens, you always have a place to, when you come home, to
You
be a
got to
safe
hear them. You
area,
got to hear them. You
and
just
you
have to
got to hear
listen,
them.
and yeah.
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 So this, idea of, just going crazy and doing all that type of stuff, no, I think that's not healthy at all. But would I have my kid just start taking? Absolutely not. Because again, I don't know what I cared about at 10 or believed that I believe now. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like we change our thoughts and what we wanted to do and what we wanted to be, especially as a kid. Sometimes it could be
Yes.
weekly changes. I want to be a cop.
Yes.
Actually, I want to be a fireman. I
And
mean, I don't want to do it. Like
kids are
kids
easily
change their minds
influenced,
all
and
the
this
time.
is a
So
they're easily
I would
influenced.
definitely when go to resort to something that it could be pretty permanent. And I've seen, yeah,
No, yeah, the kids are
yeah,
easily influenced. We have to be careful as parents to understand that, and they're influenced by media and songs, and
yeah,
so our roles as parents is to be providers, protectors, to be there for them, listen, engage, do things that interest them. Like all these easy things, but sometimes not easy. But it doesn't mean we just say, all right, I'm here for you. I support you 1,000% as a 10-year-old. Absolutely not.
yeah,
10, you know what I'm saying? Like you have to sometimes say no. It's undervalued. Right now, not enough people are willing to hear the word or say the word no
yeah,
or why. They're too afraid to ask why or to say no. And we got to get better at that, I think. We
yeah.
just do. Yeah.
What? So remember earlier we were talking about the media and how certain shows are for certain people, and maybe we're taking this too seriously. But do you think that there are shows and programs out there that are, like I said, kids are pretty impressionable, that are pushing certain types of lifestyles, or
I don't
I think
know.
a lot of us are just a little too sensitive, and we think because again, there's conservatives out there that saying Disney is going off the deep end with
Yeah.
their programming and what they show and trying to put on certain types of programming that
Yeah.
push these kinds of lifestyles onto young kids. Do you think that is a problem today in our society?
I I don't.
Mhm.
I think the conservatives that think that are just looking at it and finding things that fit their narrative. I think a lot of those things have been around. I
Yeah,
think the influence of social media and the rate that we get it and consume it is just quicker. So it's just more in our face and we can react quicker to it. But those things might be true. I haven't, I don't get in and watch a lot of that anyway to really know. But I don't see it like that. I
yeah,
think that if you look at any one thing on its own without looking at the other side, you can easily be influenced. So the same way that certain people will say our kids are being influenced and they're mad at Target and they're mad at these companies, I could say the same thing about some of the things that they support. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
if you look at any one side too much, a lot of things are thrown in our face, especially nowadays. So I don't think any one is more bad or good or more influential or more pushed down our throat than anything else. I think a lot of things, especially as adults, are pushed down our throat. You watch your favorite television show, everybody's drinking, and back in the day it was smoking, and now you can't smoke on TV because it influences and the Marlboro ads and be a man, smoke, do
right.
this to drink to have a good time. You got to drink. You watch a professional football game, drinking Bud Light. So on every level that can be said, but they only like to look at certain things that fit a narrative. So I don't believe Disney's trying to make our kids a certain way. I think that's absurd,
Yeah,
but it fits that narrative. So that's why they talk about it. That's how I look at that.
I think what I've noticed, and it's been a while since I watched movies that are been interesting. I watch. I'm same thing. Interesting with music. I try to listen to new music, but movies, man, I'm watching movies from '90s. I
Yeah.
think there are many movies out there that are trying to preach a little bit too much,
Mm.
and they're neglecting telling a good story. They're sometimes they are hand fisting certain things to either to satisfy a diversity quote, or you
Mm.
can tell that the the movie and how to make an interesting and entertaining movie is not the first thing. It's
Yeah.
I want to preach about social justice
And you
or
you
that
think a little bit. You think Disney's gone that way. I feel like, right? You think that, right?
from some of the stuff that I've seen.
Hmm.
Also, it's just the quality is just not good. I mean, because I don't necessarily like I said, I could watch a movie even if it's something based on you telling me that women are great and men are terrible. All right, fine.
Yeah.
Can you make it interesting and can I enjoy this shit? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
The
if I can't
problem is their
enjoy it,
agenda is that they're not also making something good. That's the
Right.
problem.
Make
Yeah,
it good.
yeah.
I don't mind watching a female lead. I love Alien. That's one of my favorite movies, man. Like,
Dude, Sigourney Weaver was a gangster before it was
right?
popular to be a
It didn't
gangster. Yes,
matter if she was a
yes.
woman. I don't care. She was
Pam Grier,
amazing.
Pam Grier from Jackie Brown was doing
Exactly.
her thing before all this was popular. Yeah,
So, but then you decided, like, to try to redo Charlie's Angels, and I love the second edition with Cameron Diaz and Lucy Liu. I love that.
yeah. That's
And
that's a good one. Yeah,
but they bring it back again, and it's now like men are terrible. They suck, even though
yeah,
it's like 300-pound women beating everyone's ass. Like, well,
yeah,
this movie's not interesting anymore.
yeah.
Or changing certain things about Disney characters. Apparently, the Snow White and Seven Dwarfs. Apparently, there will be no dwarfs in the
I
movie.
heard about that. That's weird. Yeah,
Stuff like that.
yeah,
Whereas, like, come on,
yeah.
they're supposed to be. First of all, it's not like a lot of dwarfs have tons of opportunities to be there. It's like, so many small people came out and said, "Yo, this is bullshit." Like, you're throwing
It is. It
regular people
is.
can get these jobs, while it'd be nice to have those kind of jobs for people.
Well,
It's
shouldn't you want? It's weird because they also talk about representation.
yeah,
So it's just logically, once again, it doesn't make sense. It's like a
no,
little hypocritical that you wouldn't put dwarves in seven dwarves, like
because that's the whole
because
point.
you're too sensitive. It's weird. Yeah, I mean, it's weird.
We've gone too far.
Yeah,
That's where it is. We are so we're so focused on not offending. We want to offending somebody, right?
yes,
You're
that's a
trying
good
to
point.
please everyone. You wind up effing it all up. So the fact that it's seven dwarfs and I don't know how much money Disney is losing, because a lot of these shows are just not hitting. Little Mermaid, again, you not a big deal with the fact that the Little Mermaid Arrow was
I,
black, but
yeah, I didn't see a
it
problem.
wasn't a good movie.
Yeah,
Just because they keep trying to modernize certain things, but also the idea of trying to preach and
yeah,
trying to force, and it could be a little bit of force. Make a good movie, and you
yes.
could put that crap in. I don't care. I really don't.
No, I agree. I think I don't know what just makes me think of this because we're talking about like strong female roles in movies. You mentioned Alien. I mean, the
Yeah,
first Aliens.
fantastic.
I have all of
Yeah,
they're just really good,
yeah.
way ahead of its time. But like, remember Kill Bill?
Oh, I love
Quentin
that movie.
Tarantino, 2 movies. Uma Thurman, main character, fucking badass,
Yeah, beat
killer.
everyone's
Okay,
ass.
those are good
Legit
movies. Now that could have
good
been a
movies.
male. That could have been Keanu Reeves, but
Yeah,
he chose a woman on purpose. But it was a good movie. So if
right,
that movie sucks, we're like, well, damn, this sucked. But
right,
it didn't matter that it was a woman because he didn't put
exactly,
a woman in it because he wanted to like, you know what I'm saying? Like it
right.
was a good movie and the storyline fit and she was great and the story was good and like, but she was
Yeah,
the main character. She was a
yeah,
powerful woman seeking revenge on her
yeah,
shitty husband, right? Like,
yeah. Had a
but it
child, just
had a
feminine, like
child, yeah, but it was good.
So
So it doesn't
exactly.
matter, right? But when you make a movie like that and it's not good, then it's like, well, why did you choose her? If it was,
Yes,
if there was some kind of hidden agenda or message, we're gonna come after you if it's shitty. So you need to make a
exactly.
good movie and don't put somebody in a role just to push an agenda because if it's good, okay, it won't matter because people left feeling like it was good and it made
Yes.
sense. When it doesn't make sense, we're gonna talk shit. And there's,
Yeah.
they,
Like, I love Ghostbusters, big fan. But when you saw the latest edition, not the second to one, the last one, that was kind of like a Stranger Things, not knockoff, but they followed it. The one where they had four women, it didn't
yeah,
work.
yeah,
It felt forced. It didn't feel like the original. First of all, people wanted the original group for so long. It didn't happen. One of them passed away, and Bill Murray doesn't want to do it anymore for some reason.
yeah.
When you
But
force it, it's pretty. Yeah.
they had some of the original guys in that movie.
What kind of like cameos? I think like Dana
They had
Aykroyd and stuff like
cameos,
that.
and
Yeah,
one guy was the father of one
right.
of the women
But they
or
really
whatever.
wanted, people kind of wanted one thing, and they were like, "Shut up, take this." And if you don't
Yeah,
like it, you hate women. Same thing with the Charlie's Angels. I think the director, she said the reason why it didn't do well is because people, hate women leads. Like, no, the movie sucked. Like,
yeah,
we have to kind of be honest with ourselves. Like, the movie sucked. It wasn't
yeah.
because people don't want to see a woman dominate or beat it. No, it make good movies. I've said this
That's all
many
you
times
have
on
to do.
this podcast.
Yeah,
Just make good movie. I
yeah.
don't care.
Because it doesn't
But
matter. Like if you could have a traditional role for a man or woman. If the movie's bad, we don't like it. So we're gonna say the same thing if you try to switch it up, right? So I think too many people are just afraid of like being. We become a little too sensitive, and not enough people are willing to just like talk and say, "Hey, I don't like this. I don't. Whatever your agenda is, I get it. We want representation. There's nothing
Right.
wrong with that." There's been underserved people in many ways in this country for a long time, but that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about I want to be entertained.
Exactly.
I want to watch MMA and not see a man or a woman that was born a man beat the shit out of a woman. I don't want to watch that. That's not entertainment. It makes me feel a little weird, right?
Yeah.
If I go to my daughter's swim meet at UCLA, I don't want to see a woman that was born a man beat my daughter. That makes me feel weird, you
Right.
know. So and I can say that, and I should be able to say that. So
Definitely. I think that's what it is. It's and the way some of the legislation has been pushing. I think there are people out there like, yeah, this has gone too far, and they're gonna have to make separate categories, especially if the person passed and now decide to, be another gender, but you can't. It's not working. Clearly, it's not working. And the only answer for the other side is to call people bigots. That's not gonna work either. Like there has
no,
to be some level of
yeah,
meeting a ground where we could figure something out.
yeah,
Because what's currently happening is kind of fun. It's just I'm imagining what other people in other places in the world looking at us and like what's over there? What's happening over there? Like this
yeah.
this doesn't
And
make any
I don't know
sense.
if it happens, although I don't know if it does. I haven't done
Probably not.
research. I haven't done research.
Yeah,
I think we've just become like we're leaning a little too sensitive and soft. And I'm
yeah,
all for soft at times and empathy and like listening and feelings. Those these we need these things. We talked about men's mental health on this channel many times,
right,
but sometimes too much of a good thing becomes bad for you.
right.
It just does, and I think we're getting to the bad point to where like what this new normal is just a little weird.
Yeah,
It
I think
doesn't sit
yeah,
right with me, and I look at it and it's like it just doesn't seem right. But that's not to say things that were happening back in the day, those aren't right either. I think we've just gone to, instead of us taking steps to try to figure things out, we like complete leaps and bounds where somebody born a man is beating the shit out of a woman in MMA. And that is just weird. And that happened a long time ago, and it's
that
still
happened a long
weird.
time ago.
Yeah.
And I think like you said, we're going to extremes, and now we realize okay, you can't. Not everything could be accepted because we're hurting women. So I thought, we're hurting women with what we're doing. So let's just bring it back a little bit and find some solutions where people can still participate in sports. 'Cause I understand
Yeah.
the importance of participating in sports, but it has to make sense. You can't put, like you said, you can't put a wig on LeBron and put him in WNBA. Like, what's going to happen? You know what I mean?
Come on. Like what? Yeah. It
He's gonna
doesn't.
score 60 points again. He's gonna Wilt
Yeah.
Chamberlain the situation. Is that
Yeah.
entertaining? Is that
Yeah.
fun?
Yeah.
I mean, so we'll see. I mean, I think a lot is settling down a little bit. Like we see so many stories, and I think a lot of people don't want to say it out loud, but they realize something needs to change. That's why in 15 states this is happening, and there's probably gonna be more states where I was like, yo, this is silly, especially if you have a daughter. I mean, if you have a daughter, you're
Yeah.
like, wait a minute, I don't want
Yeah.
to, like I don't have a daughter, but I would, as a father, I'm like, yeah, this doesn't make any sense to me. So,
Yeah.
I mean, we'll see what happens. On the stream yard, I lost all of the comments. I know people were still commenting on the channel. I for some reason I can't see it. Gigi talking about Terminator. Um,
Yeah. Yeah. Foxy Brown, Pam Greer. He's talking. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
but yeah, if you haven't seen Alien, go watch it. I'm trying to think of what other
Dude.
really great female leads that I'm probably not thinking of right
Well,
now.
if we're not talking about porn, then I guess. Oh, I think we named a few, but I mean, there's Kill Bill movies are really
Yeah,
good.
Kill Bill is amazing. I saw
Um,
both of them in theaters. I remember
yeah,
watching the trailer and I thought this is the most amazing movie I've ever seen because
dude, it was
Quentin
so
and his
good.
direction, his style, the
Yes,
shots, the music,
yep.
um, fantastic movie.
I mean, there's a lot. It doesn't have to be just women being physical,
Right.
right? Or I mean, there's a lot of great. I mean, on both sides. I mean, there's a lot, but I think the Alien, Terminator. Obviously, they mentioned Linda Hamilton was her name, I believe.
Yes.
I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
just
She was
ripped and just
badass.
fucking the
Yeah.
shotgun cocking it and just blasting guy. Like, I mean, just all that good stuff. But I think it's just I don't know. It's just weird. I
Yeah.
have two daughters, and my firstborn is 21 now. Okay, she'll be 22 about next month, and she played softball in high school.
Yeah.
And I just couldn't imagine, like, and she wasn't the best, you know. She did the best she could. She was good. She played varsity all 4 years. She was good. But like,
Yeah.
if a boy was like, "Oh, come a girl now," oh, that's great. And he's like, "Oh, I want to play on the team." No, like it doesn't work like that because if it just doesn't work. He'd be hitting. He'd get a hit every at bat. You know,
Yeah.
like it wouldn't be fair if he was pitching. He's going to have an advantage. Like it's just not. It doesn't pass my eye test as a
Right.
father, and that's where I have the issue. So
Yeah. I think we needed structures. Structure is important, and let's figure out. Let's just use our brains here, because obviously, we don't want someone to be on a rugby team or another physical sport.
yeah,
That just doesn't make sense. That's not great to look at.
yeah,
It feels cringy, especially if I saw that rugby match of this guy destroying, this person destroying women. It feels like when that guy with the chair that hit that chick that was laying down. It's like,
yeah.
ew, that
It doesn't sit right with you. Yeah, it's just
no, it
not. It's
doesn't.
not okay. Yeah, it's not
It's just
okay.
funny now. So many memes about steel chairs and foldable chairs.
Yeah, I know,
That that
right?
that that situation. I mean, I guess we'll talk a little bit about if there's more. I don't know if they arrested everyone yet, and see what kind of charges some of these people are going to get for that uh,
I
riverboat
saw
incident.
something today. I think 3 people were charged, but it didn't say who, and I didn't click it to read.
Right,
But
right,
I
right.
think we'll find more out. I definitely feel like the guy that hit that woman with the chair, he needs to face up to that. That's not okay. What he did
No,
with, and I get we're not there. We don't, but it wasn't warranted. He didn't.
yeah,
She wasn't coming at him. So
he
for me,
lost his
that's
mind.
he
He just
lost his mind. Yeah,
I think he thought everyone was out to get him, and
yeah,
he was too worked up, and that did not make any sense. It didn't
no,
make any sense. I would
no,
say if everyone else could just get their ass whooping and go home, and just dudes who attacked the security guard, arrest them.
yeah,
Everyone else is all right, fine, whatever. It was a fight, whatever.
yeah.
But that dude right there lost it. He probably needed, go sit down somewhere. What's
I
wrong
mean,
with
that's a weapon.
you? Yeah, definitely.
I've never been hit upside the head with a folded chair, but it can't feel good.
No, no. Even
Yeah,
wrestling, it don't tickle. It
yeah,
stings. Like to get
yeah.
even those special chairs, it's not a fun thing. So,
No,
yeah, hopefully he gets some level of punishment, because that was a little bit OD. But on that note, I think we had a really nuanced conversation. We didn't say anything crazy. We didn't make any
no, we're not gonna
jokes
get
about
canceled. Nah,
uh,
yeah.
really long clits. Apparently, that's what Gig Giggly was talking about. Oh, gross! This image is just disgusting. But
Oh.
on that note, Monday we've got something going on. We'll figure something out. I mean, we got
we
something
got.
going next month. We got to talk about that. I don't know if we want to talk about that next on Monday or
I
a
mean,
bit more later
let's
on.
talk. We'll give them a little. Let's give them a little teaser. I mean, obviously we have football coming up soon. We'll obviously be in
Oh yes,
basketball.
The Bears. We get, you got.
I mean,
There's a bet. Supposed to
listen,
put
bro. I'm
that
gonna
down.
say, listen, Justin Fields is gonna go off this year, but we can talk about that as we get closer to football. But we definitely there's a concert happening in Brooklyn, right, New
Yes,
York,
sir.
and we're gonna be bringing some special maybe content to you guys, having some things filmed, some conversations that involve what De La Soul, Wu Tang, and Nas. So
Nas, man.
coming soon in the next upcoming weeks. So.
Yeah, it's gonna be really really awesome. Pedro, have you seen Nas live before?
No, never.
Oh
No, I
wow!
know. Listen,
Yeah,
bro.
this is gonna
Yeah,
be
yeah, yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, this is
It's
gonna
gonna
be
be
great.
great. Yeah,
Yeah,
we're gonna have a lot to talk about that. Don't worry, we got a
yeah.
couple weeks to kind of hype that up. But on that note, guys, have a good time this weekend. Be nice to each other. Don't go to jail. All that type of
No,
stuff. Be nice. Be cool. Drive safe. All that good stuff.
don't hit old ladies in the head with chairs, please.
Please use the chair to sit down, not to strike people with.
Yes,
Unless
yes.
unless they trying to fuck with you.
Unless
Yeah,
they're coming at you, that's different. If she was standing up and running at that man, please knock
yes.
her out. But that
Yeah.
wasn't the case. So
No, it was not the case.
yeah.
Be nice to your old people. All right, guys. Have a good night. Peace.